Welcome to episode 64 of Instant Expertise Marketing. Thank you for listening in. Not going to lie today, I am super pumped about this episode. If you're new to our content, let me just let you in on this year's theme. It is literally all about the offer. Now, maybe you're thinking, how can you talk about just offers for an entire year? Well, the truth is we can. And we actually, when we built out the schedule, had to cut some offer content just to make sure we got everything in this year. So I don't know if we're obsessed or what it is, but let me tell you, we got plenty to talk about in the area of offers. I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of XPROMOS. I became an entrepreneur at 23 by starting a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Sherry Nomadi.
And I'm Sherry Nomadi. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that Yvette and I approach business from opposite ends of the spectrum. And that's what makes us such a great team, because we think through all the possibilities and we always come to the same conclusions on how to help our clients succeed. And yes, we've been building successful offers at every step of the customer journey for Fortune 500s and everyday name brands now for over 30 years. And around that midpoint in our journey, with a pretty solid portfolio of very successful stories, we tried to articulate what made us unique in the agency space. And while we could outline a few key points like client service and commitment to deadlines, the best we could really do is that when it came to offers, is to describe them as the X factor.
That's right, Sherry.
And, that's part of our name, so it made sense.
Totally. And, the reality is we promoted this X factor before the TV show even existed. And, we had a crazy, amazing ability to create campaigns that drove results, but we didn't really know why. But clients kept coming back, asking for help with their campaigns. We continued to deliver, but we really struggled to explain what this thing was. So we called it the X Factor.
And later, we tried to describe it as a magical mix of a client's unique selling proposition, their target audience, their passion, and rewards that tied it all together. And really, the long story short is we didn't know how we did it, but we knew that we did it, and usually better than our competitors.
Yeah, it's a funny story, because during that period of time, it was I remember we, kind of envisioned this, gumbo stew pot kind of thing, where you would just throw in these parts and we would stir it up, and somehow, we kind of made magic out of it. And that's kind of how it was. So, but, a few years ago, we kind of decided that it was time for us to try and help the next generation of marketers exceed their goals. And that was really by sharing what we had learned over the years. And it was around this time that we launched our podcast and we started building training resources.
And while we could create frameworks for many things we've learned, we couldn't crack the code on the X factor until now.
Yep, that's totally right. We have finally, after almost 35 years, figured out how we do what we do. And we're going to be sharing that with you guys in greater detail over the next few months. We've kind of kept our progress on this secret assignment under wraps, but it's time to start, leaking it out and sharing this information with you all.
And what we discovered is that there are 4 key pillars that make a marketing offer fire on all cylinders. And today we're going to cover the mechanics of that.
Yeah, and when we figured out what these 4 pillars were, I think one of the exciting part is we started testing out our theory on our own best performing programs. And we were really excited to see that when our programs were strong in these 4 areas, it checked all the boxes.
And actually, one of my favorite resources that's under development is the Venn diagram. That shows the characteristics of an offer when it only has two of the four pillars. The eye-opening descriptions that we created have absolutely crushed it.
That's totally true. And, and the reality is, after all of these years, we can spot an offer out in the wild that's just off, right? Like we see something and we go, you know what, that's going to fail. And it's sad for us because we can see that, brands generally, they spend a lot of money creating these different offers. They spend a lot of money on traffic to promote it, and they don't know it's going to fail, but we can see right away that it's going to. And so now we actually have developed a simple way to identify those offers. And that's what we're going to be sharing with you in our part of our offer content as we go through the rest of the year.
Yeah, so let's get back on track, because today what we're discussing is mechanics. And it might seem a little bit strange to start at that place since it's not even the first step in developing the offer, but...
Yeah. And, hot, secret from the future is a lot of people start with the creative on an offer, which is exactly not the thing to do. So we'll save all of those details for you later. But like Sherry said, we're covering it first. And the reason why is because it's something that will be simple for you guys to recognize, and it'll be easy to fix without spending a lot of money, right? Our take on this, and what we realize makes us different, is that for many marketers, they overlook the mechanics of an offer, yet the mechanics make a massive difference in the results.
Absolutely. So what are the mechanics, you might be asking? Well, basically, it's how the offer works. So once you've decided what your enticement is, that might be that you're developing with the offer. That could be something like a sweepstakes or a gift with purchase. You have to then consider, how will you make that reward happen easily?
Yeah, and now here's an example of that. Okay, let's say that you've decided first, hey, we are going to give away 10 big screen TVs, okay? The mechanics would include, how are you going to select those winners? Is it going to be a random draw sweepstakes? Will it be an instant win game? How about a scratch and win, a slot machine pull, a spin the wheel, or is it going to be something else? Is it going to be based on user generated content, and you're going to do a contest where you let the audience pick the winners? How are the participants going to enter? How are you going to reward them? All of these questions are part of the offer mechanics.
And the secret in that decision about offer mechanics may seem tactical and unimportant, but they are not. Trust us. The offer mechanic decisions can be very strategic and, more importantly, significantly impact your results.
And you may be calling BS right now and saying, what difference can it make? How can that make such a big difference? Well, we'll tell you. The perfect offer provides a frictionless customer experience while also secretly ticking all the boxes of your marketing objectives. So when you have a well-conceived offer, it makes the prospect feel good about your brand, and that's because of the way that you've engaged with them, and also because of the simple to follow directions you've provided along the way.
And that's it, simple, because simplicity is the key. As you all know, we were one of Mattel's agency of records for over 12 years, and we have created a lot of gift with purchase offers. And every single set of instructional copy was very clearly stated: buy, mail, receive. Because those were the 3 steps for the consumer to take. And it made them feel like, oh, this is so easy, I can do this.
Yeah, funny story about that. And you know what it is, Sherry. One of our key clients at Mattel did not like the word get, was really offended by it. So we replaced it with receive, because they believed that it sounded better to their customers and aligned better with their brand. So in any event, when we wrote buy, mail, receive, we, next to each word, we would provide very clear information on what you had to buy, what you had to send in, and what you would receive or get in return.
And why does that all matter? Because complexity kills action. That's why prospects who don't understand what to do to get the reward, they're not going to do it. I don't care how great that reward is. They're going to move on. And in their mind, now they're going to start questioning how well your brand can explain anything, like maybe onboarding. However, if you create a really fun, engaging, easy experience while delivering exactly what you promised, then you will build a positive relationship between your brand and your prospects.
So very true, Sherry. Confusion kills momentum. It's that simple. And the other issue with a frictionless customer experience is that, and this is important to understand, is that sometimes it's at odds with a marketer's system, right? So, have you ever tried to download a report, right, that you're interested in for whatever reason, only to find out that the company is requiring you to answer like a dozen questions, including like the name of your firstborn, right? So, sometimes on the marketer's end of that, they might have been in a hurry and they were reusing a form from another program. Or the team thought, hey, it would be a good idea to qualify leads faster, so we're going to ask you all of these things. The problem is that many prospects are going to skip out at that stage, right? And this is actually something that we covered in one of the last podcasts that we did about tofu offers, top of the funnel offers. So what you need to do, especially, when you're at the top of the funnel, is you need to make it easy for your prospect or customer to participate. You do that especially at the top, because once you've got their name, which is the hardest, most expensive thing to get, you can work to cull that list and separate the wheat from the chaff, as they say.
And customer experience isn't the only consideration. One of our favorite things to do when we build a campaign is to find ways to add value by addressing secondary objectives. Reviewing the mechanics of how it can tackle other goals, like maybe capturing some customer feedback or improving brand perception, is a win. As long as, like Yvette just said, don't ask them 25 questions.
Totally. And, here a great example of how mechanics can improve brand perception is, a legacy brand as an example. Think of an old-timey brand or one that just kind of is, big and slow moving and whatever. They can actually use trending technology in their mechanics, say like a digital scratcher instead of an old school sweepstakes draw, and to engage customers or prospects. And when they do that, when they use cool new technology, it helps their brand look more relevant, relatable, and contemporary.
So, guys, clarity and frictionless customer experience are the most critical considerations when you're building your offer mechanics. What else can you influence? Easy. You can use the mechanics to help a prospect better emotionally connect with the brand. Why? Because buyers, even the B2B buyers, buy on emotion.
So true. So we put together 3 ways that you can help make your offer mechanics more fun and engaging. Number 1, make your messaging friendly. Being more relatable and friendly on your landing page, for instance, does not cost you any more budget, right? A great example of this is Amazon's really adorable dogs that they put on their 404 web pages, okay? Not only does Amazon make you feel better when you click on that and find out that you can't get what you want, but they also make Amazon itself look like a cool company with fun culture and maybe is a fun place to work.
And secondly, you can surprise and delight your audience with a bonus. When we are fulfilling demo rewards on behalf of clients, we almost always include a handwritten note. That extra little touch shows that they care. and that it's really a simple gesture that can move them closer to making the purchase. Another example is by placing a bonus sampler or a cross-sell discount offer inside the package. If you're delivering a download, toss in a useful extra resource or a tool they can use.
Yeah, those are great examples of things that you can do that aren't going to affect your budget and is just kind of shows that you care and you're invested in this relationship and you want it to move further. A third option for this is actually just to bring the fun to your campaigns. Especially this can be a difference maker if your competitors are serious, stiff, corporate, and they're still talking about end-to-end solutions, right? Fun connects you to your buyers, it humanizes your business, and it helps you stand out.
Mm-hmm. And before we go today, we wanted to touch on some ways you can rethink your traditional offers to make them more engaging and fun. So let's start with sweepstakes.
Okay, well, I already talked about a few executions, but honestly, there are a cajillion ways to give away a prize that's more engaging than randomly selected a winner from a list of entries. And some days I feel like in the 300, 400, 500 sweepstakes programs we've done, we've hit on all of them, but I am sure that there's more executions that we have not done. So, you can do a scratch, a match, a watch, or collect and win just right off the top. You can have your prospects spin a wheel or a reel to see, or you can even have them see if a key that you send them unlocks their prize, right? Or a magic number or anything else. And these can be done in the online digital world as well as offline. Like literally, that's probably, 30 solutions right there if you looked at all of the different options, right? So what you want to do is choose a solution that fits with the rest of your execution, your theme, and your audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how about content? Well, I can answer that in one single word: interactive. Make it as interactive as you can, whether it's a report, a white paper, an assessment, or even a webinar. Layer in the interactivity and see how quickly results will climb. Also, make it helpful. Make it easy to share and make it relatable, especially if you're repurposing your assets from your ABM audience.
And, I'd like to just pause there because, Sherry, that is such a great and important point. In some of our previous pods, we talked a little bit about some of the different types of content that is resonating with buyers. And interactive always just levels them up, like plain and simple. So we're not even necessarily talking about creating new content. We're talking about looking at what you have and saying, hey, this is a great, presentation. What if these graphs were like spinny? Or what if you could move them yourself? Or what if this little assessment we did, you don't have to handwrite in your results, but we actually compile it for you? Mm-hmm. What about our webinars? What if, people could have a Q&A or we ask them questions throughout it? Like, these are simple things. They do require an effort, but they are things that will make a difference in your results. So before we go on, and then the last one I kind of wanted to add to this, and it's really important, is make sure whatever you're sending is easy to consume. And as an example of this, I recently had an experience. I bought some content online as a lead magnet, so I didn't spend a lot of money for it. And after I bought it and, got my, hey, click here type information, I found out it was on a platform I didn't use. Now, it doesn't mean I never used it. It means it wasn't a PDF. It wasn't a Kindle. It was like kind of on something totally different. And there was no easy way to convert it to those sources. And so I kind of lost interest. And I'm sure that this lead magnet is just the start of what they want to sell me. But the reality is I'm kind of stuck here. I'm intrigued by the content, but not enough to kind of, I see that whole other platform as a hassle. And so it's just kind of sitting out there. When I have time, maybe I'll get back to it. Whereas if it was in a format that I would, typically consume, I would have been right in it and possibly moving further along on their customer journey. So in this case, the content, I'd imagine, is probably great, but the user experience totally kind of killed it for me.
Yeah. And you know what? That is a great example of the impact that mechanics can have. See, it wasn't simple. It wasn't relatable. It was too complicated. And I'd imagine you won't be moving on up the customer value ladder there either with that one, Yvette.
Not anytime soon, no.
Yeah. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to touch on before signing off, and that's physical delivery. I know I mentioned earlier that we often include a handwritten note in most of our packages. And there's this great study that looked at what kind of packaging garnered the best results from recipients. And it was a reward delivery experience study. And you can find the link in the blog text on our website at xpromos.com. But anyway, long story short, customers responded most favorably when the reward was packed with care, but looked like it actually was touched and packed by a human. So like not too perfect, but more like how you would wrap a birthday gift for a friend.
And really, Sherry, that is a fantastic point to wrap up on, right? Because remember, your offers are helping build a relationship. You need to show off your best side. And if you create a bad experience at any point of the customer journey, it can kill whether or not that prospect is going to move on. And, if it's near the top of the funnel, they might just take you off the list of options that they're looking at to pursue further. So with that, we're done for today. Hope you enjoyed listening today as much as we enjoyed sharing.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get alerted on our new content and join our newsletter for even more in-depth coverage. Look for the link in the show notes.